So you're starting a new game, a new session, or a new campaign of D&D or Daggerheart or whatever TTRPG game you want to play, and you want to do it properly. You want maps, you want models. You're not doing Theatre of the Mind, because that's just crap. So you want maps, and there are lots of options, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We've already talked about terrain, like putting down some terrain, building walls and making a room. So you get into a castle and you go into a room, you lay out some walls and some doors and all of that. This is more your overall land and the map in general, the village, the town, the city, the continent, the world. So first off, there are obviously online resources. You can buy a screen, a flat screen, put it on a table and put a map on it, and then you put your models on and drag it around. That's how they do it in game centres, Arcadia, etc. And it's great, but it could be expensive. Or you could do it with a projector, video, TV projectors, mounted on a stand, pointing up in the air, pointing straight down. But the problem with that is that when you put your models on, the models get covered in the land and the projection. And so all of your hard work painting perfect models gets lost because it gets covered in bits of green and river and a house and so forth. Or you can buy pre-made maps. There's no shortage. Etsy and Fiverr, Patreon. There's RPG tabletops with 15,000 maps that you can buy. RPG map resource, Scribe, just a few that I've found. You can just literally look up RPG maps and you'll get hundreds. But it's another subscription. You can do paper maps or plastic maps, dry erasable, write on, whatever, fold up, fold out. There's RPG mapping kit and RPG map forge and so forth. Or you can make them yourself. Digital files. You have something like Procreate or Photoshop and you get a pen and a tablet and you draw your maps. You can download brushes and stamps from RPG Maps Forge, RPG Mapping Kit. Bastion and Guild Halls is a Kickstarter that's up and running, which has got lots of stamps and things, and you can just put a wall in and draw a wall, or you can draw mountains and cliffs and trees and rivers and so forth. And I've got a few. I've tried this. I've got maps and stamps of trees and things, and you can just create a land where you've got some mountains in the top and a castle and then a village and a town and a lot of trees, and then you can draw like buildings and then draw a path and then a river and then more land and so, and you can build it up and make it into a general map, or you can do a specifically designed map just for one session, i.e. like the town or the woodland or so forth, and you can zoom in as and when you need it, and you've just got endless supplies of maps. You can do it online. My go-to for a lot of these things is Donjon. You can go onto Donjon and look up maps, dungeon maps, and make them as detailed or as simple as you like. There's Lost Atlas, of course, which is more than just maps. It's got like directories and you've got files and things like that. Well, same as World Anvil, you can make maps on World Anvil. Roll and Play, Incarnate. There's millions of maps. There's like 50,000 maps on there. Even D&D Beyond has a directory of pre-made maps that you can just download and stick onto your screen, and there you go. You can even now play a game called Cartograph, where you play with your friends around the table and you make a map. That is the premise of the game. So you play one game of making the map and then you play the game with the map you made in the previous game. It's 30 Australian dollars or 30 US dollars. Quite cool. You can always just use AI. I mean, it's kind of a subject, isn't it now? You can go onto CharGen that does map. It's a bit hit or miss at times. You have an image in your mind and you know what you want, and then you try and get to explain it to a computer and then go, I want this, and it comes up with that, and it's not what you wanted. If you don't have an idea and you can't draw, then you can always just talk to a computer and get them to print it. Otherwise, it's good old pen and paper. So we've got an idea for a map. We've got this digital image that I created with a a castle and a town and some forests and some mountains. But let's see if we can expand on it, make it into something with a bit of story behind it. Here's a map, and we need some mountains in the background, like so, some clouds. And we want to depict that in the distance is a castle with some outbuildings, gatehouse and some turrets. And you can do this as basic or as detailed as you want. Sort of medieval castle, drawbridge goes there, and then there's a path there. There's more mountains, there's foothills. But then there's a path, and the path leads out like this, and you find at the end of this path built is a gatehouse. It's a little bit overrun, but on the other side of the road is the other gatehouse. And from here, the path does a sudden turn and goes around like this. It's not just the path, because there are trees, and how dense the forest is up to you. But up here, pine trees. There are big pine trees blocking the road, and then there's water that comes down here, and clearly there must be some sort of dock or something here. And then the water goes around there and carries on. Then you can do this. This is close up, and this is a bit more that, and there's trees there, and there's a castle there. You can barely see that, but there's literally a castle there, and then there's sort of things, and then there's this path that goes through here, and then there's a river here, and then the path continues here, and then there's the warring faction city here. There's a town there, and this is a mountain range. It goes all the way up there, and then that comes down here, and there's the other city that's on the other coast, and it comes around just like this, and this river comes up like this, and it segregates the two cities. So there we go, there's a map. There's waterways and there's rivers, and all of these squiggly lines suddenly become rivers. There's our land, barely visible. We could draw it all out and do the same thing. We could do it on Procreate and draw it digitally, or we can do it, colour it in with some felt tip pens. I can make it even more rough and ready by drawing it. I'm left-handed, mostly. Depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm right-handed. But if you draw the city in and draw it right-handed, then you get a lot more variation, especially if you're not very good drawing with your other hand. I'm trying to sort of make this a bit jagged. So you're doing join up, so there's some sort of bank or cliff there. And this is the town of Touchno, because these are Touchno pens. And this is the castle that we've just seen, and the path and the inland jetty area. Because you could make it a bit more difficult for yourself, and blindfold yourself. Got a pencil, blindfold and right-handed. Hold on, I need to know where there's the edge of the paper. And okay, of course you could just draw with your eyes closed, but now you've got to try and remember what you've just drawn to incorporate I'm completely blindfolded, so there's no way of knowing what I've drawn. I'm assuming that the land goes up there and it comes down there, so rivers, something like that. How's that? Okay, completely changed the shape of the land. What have I drawn? So land is now, right, I've taken a blindfold off, as you can probably gather. So if that is now that, we've just made it into two separate lands. What's this doing? I'm liking the idea that that's some sort of causeway. It's like a lot of, still drawing wrong-handed and trying together. There we go. For demonstration purposes, if that's with a pen that's worn out, like an archipelago. That's what joins it together. Then that's all C. That's the city down there. That's the city of Raitana. Look, it became an A. Trust me, that says Raitana. Raitana and Touchno. And that they have a war in which they're fighting over this series of little tiny islands that join together, that join the lands together. And then you have a completely separate state or country, which is this, which is Zeno 2, because Zeno 1 is this little island up here. Made up a map. There we go, we've now got a game, and your adventuring party is going from Raitana, and they're going to go to here, and they go across the archipelagos to figure out what was so great about it and discover there's lots of horrible things on it. And then you're going to get to here and find out Zeno 2 are really weird and they're isolationists and they don't want anything to do with anybody, and they're trying to build a wall here, which isn't even in their land, it's in Touchnu's land, but it's so remote no one knows about. And the mountains are there, the mountains are here. Then no one knows what's up north, no one's ever gone up there. And then you got Touchnu with all of its very modern, tall, upright, square buildings. And the castle that's out to the side because the king doesn't want anything to do with the peasants. What else can we do? You've done the maps, done those. Have you seen these? This is a cake, you know, you put a cake on it and you spin it around so you can ice it. Or it's for putting figures on and spinning them around, you know, so you can take photos. The problem is, doing it by hand, it's not very good. So I've got an electric one that does it on its own and makes just as much noise. And I'm going to try and draw that map again, the land of Touchnu Raitana, and I'm going to try and draw something like that while it spins round and come up with a completely new place. So start off there and spin it. This is the one that turns on its own. This is the electronic one. It's a lot quieter and a lot easier to do. Let's try again. There's our piece of paper. It's now spinning around. I'm going to try and draw that from here. Obviously I'm not going to get anything like it. So I'm going to draw Touchnu there. And then this is the mountains. And it goes down there. And then there's the river and there's the archipelago of buildings. I'm trying to draw it back up to join it. And then there's that bit of land. And there's the weird people. The land goes down and there's a weird bit of land, and then there's the port, and then it goes down like that and it comes up to there. That's one. Okay, from the bottom of the archipelago we go out to here, then in, and then oops, and then we go, and now we've got a weird shape, and wow, that's a lot more organic and weird. And it goes out like that and comes back in, it goes out like that and goes in and comes out like that, and then we go to there. The palace, and then there's the land that goes down, and there's the path that goes to there. And then we have Rana is that bit, and that's Touchnu. Oh, and then we've got the mountains, of course, which start here and go. And of course we've got the land that goes up here, which no one's ever been to. So, drawn right-handed, drawn right-handed and blindfolded, drawn on a spinny wheel. We don't have a section of land that goes around to make this the rivery bit. My hand is still vibrating from going round to... Oh, this is this, isn't it? This goes like this. And then, so this must now go like that. So we've got to join it in. So that's wrong. That bit there is wrong. But there's the rest of it. And so it's certainly changed. We have the next map. The one that's going to cause an absolute mess and go everywhere. And we're going to try and draw the same map in principle and then draw around it. We need the archipelagos, don't we? It's a much higher land, this, clearly. This is a lot more sparse and flatter. Now, just kind of draw around it. I missed. Do one more. This one should be less messy. So, same thing again. This is the pastel lands. Earthquake. Quake. Pastaland. Or you could just get a dog to do it. To get your chimera to do it, and then she'll draw it, and it'll be really random. And you can end up with this map, this land. And then all you got to do is like hone it down, make it better. Do as much detail, as little detail as you want. You've got your overall map, the land of Touch New Rotana. Well, there we go. There's a lot of options, a lot of choices out there. Whatever you do, I'm sure it'll be great. What's your go-to way of making maps for your campaigns and your games? Let me know in the comments down below. If this was useful, gave you some ideas and some suggestions for places or ideas and ways to make a map, give this a thumbs up. If you want to send it to your DM because their maps are crap and they keep saying, let's just do Theatre of the Mind instead, then you should fire your DM and take over and do it yourself. And then you have maps, and you can make your maps, and you can do it properly rather than relying on visual mind. And if you're not already and you like these videos of telling stories, come up with random objects, random maps, random things, painting figures and so forth, and hit subscribe. And next time it'll be something RPG related, but something different. She'll be here, maybe, and I'll be here. And we'll be back, probably with painting a model, maybe. Until then, bye. She wants to get down. She didn't come in here to be on video, she came in to have a belly rot. That was a rather sort of video, but it's and lands and that noise does not stop, sorry. Anyone want a bag, almost a whole bag of rice? I don't actually use it, I bought it just to do this. I'm sweeping up lands, I'm sweeping up islands. We need more land. It's all on the floor. Reference for anyone. We need more food. We need more water. Anyone? Things I do for videos. I don't look like Lawrence Arabia.